Imagine reaching the top of the mountain before you turn 30. Global fame, a beautiful wife, sold-out arenas, and then a $200 million check for the songs you built your empire on. For anyone else, that would be the dream. But in Justin Bieber's case, it feels like the beginning of a quiet collapse. In January 2023, news broke that Justin Bieber had sold his entire music catalog, everything he'd recorded up until 2022, for a staggering $200 million. On paper, it sounded like a power move, a smart, early retirement-level deal. But then, something strange happened. Justin started disappearing. He skipped the Grammy Awards. No new album announcements, no major performances, no features. Even his once frequent Instagram posts began to slow. When he did appear in public, caught by paparazzi or fans, he looked off, disconnected, like someone going through the motions, but no longer connected to the world that once revolved around him. It wasn't long before fans started asking, "What's going on with Justin Bieber?" To answer that, you have to go all the way back to how it started. Justin wasn't just discovered, he was engineered. Found on YouTube at just 13, he was swept into the industry by Scooter Braun and quickly became a global product. His voice, his look, his charm, it was all packaged and sold. The world fell in love with the kid singing Baby. But behind the curtain, things moved fast. Too fast. By 16, he was performing for the president. By 18, he was a multimillionaire. And by 19, he was unraveling. Paparazzi hunted him daily. Fans mobbed him everywhere. He couldn't walk into a store without it becoming news. The pressure crushed him. In interviews later, he admitted to turning to drugs and isolating himself just to cope with the attention. It wasn't just weed or alcohol, it was lean, Xanax, and other hard substances. His team at one point feared he wouldn't wake up. Between 2013 and 2015, the headlines told a darker story. Arrests, DUIs, public meltdowns. It became pop culture fodder. Bieber as the cautionary tale, the wild child spiraling out of control. But then came the comeback. In 2015, his album Purpose changed everything. It was mature, it was raw, it was redemptive. For the first time, it seemed like Justin had found clarity and peace. A few years later, in 2018, he married Hailey Baldwin, and the world thought, maybe this time, he's okay. But behind closed doors, things weren't as perfect as they looked. In his documentaries and interviews, Justin opened up more than ever before. He talked about his deep anxiety, his depression, his lingering trauma from early fame. He was diagnosed with Lyme disease and admitted that even at the height of his success, he often felt empty. Like he didn't know who he was outside of being Justin Bieber TM, the brand. In many ways, the damage was already done. Still, fans stuck by him. They celebrated the rare moments of vulnerability. When he cried on stage, when he publicly apologized to Selena Gomez, when he posted long messages about growth, forgiveness, and faith. But in 2023, things took another sharp turn. The $200 million catalog deal was announced with Hipgnosis Songs Capital, a massive investment group that's been quietly buying the rights to some of the biggest artists in the world. These deals are big business. Once purchased, these catalogs are used in commercials, movies, playlists, and more, generating passive income for the buyers, often forever. For someone like Justin, it meant he no longer owned his greatest hits. Not Baby, not Sorry, not Love Yourself. All of them were now in someone else's hands. People close to him said the deal gave him freedom, but fans weren't so sure. Why would a 28-year-old still in his prime give up everything he'd built? That question became louder when Justin abruptly canceled his remaining Justice tour dates later in 2023. Officially, it was for health reasons. But unofficially, nobody seemed to know. Since then, the signs have been hard to ignore. In paparazzi footage, Justin appears dazed, emotionally distant. He walks with his head down, rarely speaks, and seems increasingly disinterested in the world around him. His fashion, once experimental and bold, is now oversized and almost intentionally nondescript, like he's hiding in plain sight. Meanwhile, Hailey Bieber, his wife, has become more of a public figure than ever. Interviews, fashion shows, red carpets, she's doing it all. alone. People began speculating, is there trouble in the marriage? Has Justin pulled away emotionally too? No one can say for sure, but the optics are difficult to ignore. The darker theory floating around is that Justin didn't just sell his catalog, he sold his connection to music. And once that connection was gone, the part of himself tied to creativity, purpose, and expression faded too. Because if you think about it, what happens when everything you created is no longer yours? For Justin, music wasn't just a job, it was his whole identity. From the moment he uploaded that first YouTube cover, he was chasing something. That sense of belonging, of being seen, of being worth something. Once the money came, the chase ended. And maybe, so did the fire. Now, with no music on the horizon, no major public statements, and no real connection to fans outside of occasional brand posts, it's hard not to worry. Is Justin okay? Has the industry taken too much? This isn't just about one pop star fading out of the spotlight. It's about how fame, especially from a young age, can slowly eat someone alive. Justin Bieber grew up in a system that chewed him up, spit him out, and profited from every twist and turn. Even his breakdowns were monetized. Now, even his legacy is monetized, just not by him. It raises a larger question. How many young stars are going through the same thing? How many are trapped in contracts and surrounded by handlers who see them more as investments than people? How many are one bad decision away from spiraling? Again? Justin's story isn't over. He may bounce back. He may drop another project. He may surprise us all and reinvent himself once more. But for now, what we're seeing isn't the confident kid from Never Say Never. It's a grown man who looks tired of the cameras, tired of the machine, maybe tired of himself. And honestly, that's heartbreaking. Because for so many, Justin wasn't just a pop star. He was the soundtrack to growing up, to falling in love, to heartbreak and healing. We don't want the money to win, we want the artist to win. So, what do you think really happened after that $200 million deal? Was it a smart move? Or the moment everything started to unravel? If this story hit you, or made you see Justin Bieber's journey in a new light, drop a comment and share your thoughts. And if you're here for more real stories behind the music industry's brightest stars, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Because behind every chart topper is a truth the headlines never tell.